Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I was watching the movie Red Dawn this past week. For those of you not familiar, that was an '80s movie about a hypothetical alternate reality where the Soviets and the Cubans invade the United States and they occupy half of it. Okay, and in that movie, you have a bunch of teenagers that form a militia and they fight the Soviets. So both during and after the movie, I found myself thinking what would be effective militia tactics for that type of situation where you have basically untrained people fighting a well-trained army. Okay, so the key to that is that any tactics have to be simple. Okay, and they essentially hit and run tactics. So what I came up with here is the Red Dawn 2 minute L ambush. Okay, so I've situated this ambush on a road. So this is a road over here. This is, these are 5 vehicles over here occupied by Soviets and Cubans. Okay, and this is my main attack over here. Right, I have the L ambush over here, and then this is my fallback position over here. Okay, so this over here is the same people from here when they move back to here. Okay, so the idea over here is that with this L ambush is that you have these guys shooting that way and these people shooting that way, and you have that crossfire. The biggest threat for any militia that has minimal training is friendly fire. Okay, there's a better chance that your own men will shoot each other than they will shoot the enemy. And the other thing with untrained militiamen is that they're really they may be really good at shooting, but when bullets start coming back in, they tend to panic. They tend to stop thinking. So that has to be baked into the cake. Okay, we have to have a plan that is going to be able to be effective with those circumstances. So with this L ambush here, okay, I have an 8-man team. All right, and then I have this guy up here with the C as the commander. And then this person over here with the S, that's my designated marksman. So basically that's my sniper. We're going to call him a sniper just because it's easier. Okay. So what these guys are going to do is they're going to put a roadblock over here. Okay. And the roadblock will be right after the curve. The reason why it's over here is because we don't want the lead vehicle to see the roadblock until he comes around the corner, because that's going to force him to stop right here. If we put the roadblock up here somewhere, what's going to happen is they may stop further back, so we're not going to be able to control where they stop. We want it right here so that we know that our vehicles are going to be stopping right in this area. What type of roadblock we use depends on what type of vehicles we're expecting. If it's just cars and trucks, we can use cinder blocks, tires, just debris. If we're expecting armored vehicles, then yeah, obviously it has to be something more substantial, trees, concrete barriers, that kind of stuff. So there's our roadblock. We're going to situate our line about 50 yards back from the road, okay? Or rather 50 yards back from where the enemy is. There's probably about 25 yards between the enemy and the shoulder of the road. So we're probably about 25 yards back from the shoulder of the road. So we've got 25 yards of trees and leaves and woods between us, and then we got another 25 yards of road. Okay, so exactly how far back we're going to be is going to depend on the time of year. If it's in the summertime where you have lots of grass, lots of leaves on the trees, you're going to be at 50 yards. If it's the winter time when the trees have dropped their leaves, you may need to be back a little bit further. You may need to be back at 75 yards. So we want to be as far back as is safely possible, but at the same time have a line of sight to where we expect the enemy to be. Okay, so that's an important component to this. Now our sniper, he's because we have this corner over here, he's going to be about 75 yards back, all right, because there's more distance from his position. But that's fine because he has a magnified scope and he's taking well-aimed precision shots, so that's a good place for him to be. So he's going to be a little further back, and that's important because our sniper is going to provide cover for our men to get out. So he's going to be the last one to pull out of that position. Okay, the commander is going to be up here, and he's going to be the one that initiates the attack. So he's going to, the commander is going to be the first one to fire, and then when the commander fires, this whole line is then going to open up. That's really important. Everybody's got to cue off the commander because, first of all, he's all the way back here. He's in a position to see the whole line as it comes in, because depending on what he sees come in, he may decide that he's not, that he's not prepared for, to make this attack, because he might be expecting cars and trucks, and he may get, an armored vehicle back here, because you might have, Jeep, truck, and then you might have an armored car back here that has a minigun that can fire like 100 rounds a second, and he may decide that's not a good idea. He may he may send a signal down the line to just get out of there. Okay, so the commander is the one that initiates this. He fires the first shots, then the whole line opens up. These two guys over here are going to wait about 30 seconds before they open up. Okay, and that's important, because what's going to happen is these Soviets and Cubans that we have in these vehicles, most likely they're going to jump out to this side over here, because they want to put as much metal between their bodies and these incoming bullets. So they're going to jump out to this side over here, and then what happens is these guys over here have a nice angle of attack, once these guys are out of their vehicles on this side. So that's why these two guys here are going to wait 30 seconds before they open up. And of course, our sniper's taking well-aimed shots, okay? So this is a good plan. It minimizes the risk of friendly fire, because you got these guys firing that way. Basically everybody's firing that way. We don't have any people in here, okay? Because we don't want to set up an ambush where we have people on this side of the road and people on this side of the road. Because what's going to happen is these guys are going to be shooting through the enemy to these guys over here. Likewise, these guys are going to be shooting through the enemy to their own men over here. So we don't want to be shooting in a direction where we know we have our people behind. The other thing is, if you have any people here, it's very dangerous for them to cross this road, right? This open road to meet up with these people. So they'd be forced to pull out in that direction. So now you're splitting up your team. So we want to keep everybody on the same side of the road. This way everybody is able to pull back as a unit and come back to the fallback position over here, okay? So now, again, this is the 2-minute attack. Essentially what we're doing is we're dumping one 30-round magazine within 2 minutes. We don't want to do any more shooting, because what's going to happen is once you start shooting at these people, within 2 minutes they're gonna find a nice, they're gonna find a position that's somewhat protected. So you get diminishing returns really quickly, okay, if you go more than 2 minutes. Likewise, these guys are going to start shooting back, okay, and because these people here are untrained, there's a good chance that you may start seeing some panic over here if bullets start coming a little too close to our people over here. So 2 minutes, and then you pull back to the fallback position. So this is going to be somewhere between 200 to 300 yards back. And how far back depends on how much leaves we have on the trees, how much grass. We want to be, like in the summertime, we might be 200 yards back. In the winter, we might be 300 yards back. We need to be able to see to the edge of the road here. We want to see if these people here, the bad guys, the Soviets, are pursuing us. If they start pursuing, this line over here is going to open up immediately, okay? So ideally we want to stop them before they even come in. We want to discourage them, okay? We really don't want to continue this fight in here, because at this point we're just looking to get out of there, okay? Most likely they're not going to want to pursue over here because they don't know what's in here. By falling back here and immediately opening fire, these guys are going to start wondering what else is back here. Maybe there's reserves back here and stuff like that. So by putting this line over here and firing at anybody that starts entering the wooded area, our Soviets might start thinking that we got a lot more people in the woods than we actually have, and they'll go back and take some cover behind their trucks. These two people here, they're going to remain silent. Okay, these two guys, they don't open fire unless these people over here really decide they want to come in. They're not going to open fire until our Soviets get within, get to this position here, because we want that crossfire. We want to be able. So now we got outgoing fire from here and outgoing fire from here. If these people start opening up immediately, chances are that the Soviets would form a line back here, and we're not going to get that crossfire. So these two guys are basically the backup. They're not going to open up. They're going to let these guys do all the shooting, and then if our Soviets decide to come in, then they'll open up. And the sniper was providing the cover fire. He's the last man out basically. For two reasons. He's able to take more well-aimed shots, and also he's further back to begin with. So it's a shorter distance. He's a little deeper into the woods, so he can afford to be the last man out. The same deal here. He's going to come over here when they decide to pull back to their second fallback position. Again, he's going to be the last man out. What you want to do is you want to have a couple of fallback positions already set up and pre-planned, from the day before. So the first fallback position is 200 to 300 yards back. The next fallback position would be, let's say, 1,000 yards back. The one after that might be 5,000 yards back, and then after that, let's say, it might be 10,000 yards back. And then from there, they would go to their safe houses or their camp or whatever, wherever they're going to go after they're going to go. Okay. So again, this is the Red Dawn 2-minute ambush. It takes into account that these people are relatively untrained. They're somewhat undisciplined, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Undisciplined in the sense that if they start taking a lot of fire, there's a good chance that they might panic. So we don't want to put them in that situation. Let's talk about security for a second. Basically, anybody that loses touch with the unit when they come back to camp has to be strip searched. Okay, if you got any women in your group, you're gonna have to have another woman internally search them. The reason is because if any of your men are captured, once the Soviets find out who they are, most likely they're going to bring in their family members as hostages. So now let's say this guy here is captured. They're going to they're going to take his family in, and they're going to threaten to kill and torture his family unless this man cooperates. So, he's going to come back to camp, and as long as he doesn't have any transmitters, any radios, any bugging devices on him, he's not going to be able to notify the Soviets of what the next attack is. Presumably that once everybody gets back to camp, they're going to be quickly moving to another location. So it's important that this person, if he's compromised, not be able to communicate with the Soviets. Now, this is the 80s. There's really no reason why this person would have any advanced communication devices. So if he does have any, it most likely came from the Soviets. Okay. So the other thing to be aware of is that over time you're going to have new people that come into your unit. So let's say this guy here and this guy are new guys. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to assign them to a buddy. Okay, so you have two new guys. Everybody's a veteran. You tell this guy to follow this guy follows that guy, and then most likely you're not going to want to give them too much information. First of all, because you may not trust them. Second, because they may not be able to digest and process all that information. So the veteran is going to tell them where to take position. And then after they empty the magazine, right after that 2-minute ambush, this guy is going to tell this guy where to come back and is going to put him in the correct position. So that's how you would bring new people into this into this militia unit. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, this is this is based on an 80s movie that I think is fun, entertaining. So if you guys have any thoughts, feedback, please put in the comment section. Share it. The more people we have, the merrier. If you guys are not members, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button. I'll talk to you guys next time.